don't you just go home? That's where you live. That's your home.
Happy Gilmore, a movie that a lot of you guys have been requesting that I review in the build-up to Happy Gilmore 2, which I have not seen yet. I've not seen Happy Gilmore 2 yet because my girlfriend discovered that Taylor Swift's boyfriend apparently has a cameo in it, so I have to wait for her to check out Happy Gilmore 2. So I said in return, you've got to watch this first movie with me. And this really is the movie that put Happy Madison Productions on the map. Go figure, one half of the namesake of this studio is this film. And we follow star Adam Sandler playing Happy Gilmore, and all he's ever wanted to be is a professional hockey player. But he soon discovers he may actually have a talent for playing an entirely different sport in golf, because even though he has some anger management problems, how he's able to drive a hockey puck through the plexiglass with greatest of ease, he's able to drive a golf ball about 400 yards into the green. So when his grandmother learns that she's about to lose her home due to foreclosure because she did not pay her taxes, Happy joins a tournament to try and win enough money to buy it for her. Seems simple enough. And Happy becomes an unlikely golf hero with his powerful skills and foul-mouthed attitude. He's driving ratings through the roof, much to the chagrin of well-mannered golf professionals like Shooter McGavin, played by Christopher McDonald. Now let's just say this much. Let's just get the elephant out of the room. Most of Happy Madison's movies aren't very good. And that's not to say that Adam Sandler has a lack of comedic talent. I think there's absolutely some talent in there. I feel like anybody who's cast on SNL for a good chunk of their career, and that's how a lot of people were introduced to Sandler in the 90s, you can't be on SNL and not have any sort of comedic talent at all. But I will also agree with the opposite viewpoint on Adam Sandler's comedy, in that especially lately, he doesn't really have to try. And a lot of the material that is written for him, or what he writes, it can come off as pretty lazy sometimes. But I think the one constant, whenever you talk about Adam Sandler right now, no matter how funny you may think he is or not, most of those viewpoints are followed by, man, he's not as funny as he was in Happy Gilmore. Such and such movie is not nearly as funny as Happy Gilmore was. And let me just say for the record, I'm not going to sit here and say that Happy Gilmore is a comedic masterpiece. Of course not. I don't even want to say it's like some well-directed cinematic achievement. Dennis Dugan directed this movie, who would go on to do a couple of other Happy Madison productions afterwards, namely The Benchwarmers, a movie that admittedly, shout out to my friend Andrew, we loved that movie as kids, man, and we would quote The Benchwarmers all the time. I love beef stew. But admittedly, looking at it as a 28-year-old man, The Benchwarmers is not very good. But I will give credit to Happy Gilmore where it's due. As sophomoric as the humor might be, as simplistic as the dialogue might be, and as stupid as the dialogue might be. Because keep in mind, a big criticism with a lot of Happy Madison scripts is that it feels like they appeal to the lowest common denominator. Like, you have to treat your audience as stupid as humanely possible. I gotta give Happy Gilmore credit where it's due. I think this is not only one of, if not the best Happy Madison productions that's out there, I think it's one of the more nostalgic sports comedies that's out there, for me at least. And a lot of that has to do with how Adam Sandler portrays this character. He is just so much fun to watch. He carries so much enthusiasm to this role. And he also knows when to pull it back. He also knows that, hey, this character is in too much of a pickle and I have to give up. That's pretty rare for a sports comedy to do that. And to have the audience kind of say, no, don't give up yet. Shooter McGavin just bought your grandmother's house. Do not give up. It's rare for a sports movie to do that, and I think Adam Sandler really plays that really well. And I'd be remiss if I were to talk about Happy Gilmore without mentioning the performance of Christopher McDonald as Shooter McGavin. One of the most over-the-top and hilarious villains I think that's ever been put to the screen, unironically. Whenever this guy sinks a putt, he does the finger gun gesture, of course, because his name is Shooter. And I think the big crux of what makes this performance so funny is how refined he is when you meet him and how well he composes himself in front of the media. But then when Happy Gilmore starts getting his way towards the end of the film, how frustrated this guy gets. It's almost a farce, and he takes this way too seriously. But at the end of the day, because Shooter McGavin takes it as seriously as he does, that's where the comedy comes in. And Christopher McDonald is so good in this movie. And Lindsay actually recognized him. She did a double take when we were watching this film. She points at the screen and she was like, principal. And I was like, huh? She said, principal, lemonade mouth. And I was just thinking about it. I was like, oh my God, you just showed me that movie, and that is the same guy. And he plays a pretty relatively similar character in Lemonade Mouth. So I don't want to say he has a niche, but he's pretty good at playing the over-the-top villain.
You're in big trouble, though, pal. I eat pieces of shit like you for breakfast.
You eat pieces of shit for breakfast?
No.
I've also got to shout out the late, great Carl Weathers in this movie, Apollo Creed himself. May he rest in peace. He was really, really funny to watch. He kind of plays the mentor, the Mickey to Adam Sandler's Rocky Balboa, unironically. And he's got a fun gimmick of having a wooden hand that was chomped off by an alligator. And every time Adam Sandler, as Happy, goes to shake his hand, pinkies are falling off. And it's just, it's so funny. Like, it's a pretty repeated gag throughout the entirety of the film, but like every time I watch it, it's like, how do you keep falling for that? And as good-hearted as Happy Gilmore was to bring him the head of the alligator that chomped off his hand, it terrifies him so much that he falls out the window, and he dies! Yeah, this movie is a farce. There's no better way to put it. It is a farce. Because everybody involved, whether they're the grandmother, Frances Bay, whether they're the lead, Adam Sandler, whether they are the orderly, played by Ben Stiller, who I actually didn't see his name in the credits. Even as a side villain, Ben Stiller is just so fun to watch in this. I think everybody gets the idea of what a farce is supposed to do. You're supposed to take as ridiculous of a situation as humanly possible and portray it as a life or death situation. And Happy Gilmore just gets so flustered at every turn, and the angrier he gets, the more cartoony the thing becomes. Jackass! And of course, who could forget the legendary fist fight that Adam Sandler got into with the late Bob Barker of The Price is Right? Bob Barker was kicking his ass, man. And say what you want about Happy Madison. As bad as you may think a lot of the movies are, you cannot deny that they are memorable. Right down from the quotes, to the characters, to the very blatant product placement with the Subway sponsorship. Like, if you watch Happy Gilmore and you tell me that you do not feel like a Subway cold cut combo when you're watching this, I don't know what world you're living in. But as sophomoric as it may be, it's definitely not going to be everybody's type of movie. It's a lot of fun to watch. You definitely feel a lot of the nostalgia bursts that you get from the sports movies of the 90s. It takes a couple of pretty unconventional risks that I really respect the movie for doing. But at the end of the day, yeah, it's still very stupid. But you know what? This is the right kind of stupid movie. And if you haven't seen Happy Gilmore in a while, especially with the sequel that's coming on, dare I say double feature, that's probably the best way to go when you're looking at Happy Gilmore 2. I'm going to give the original Happy Gilmore a B+. So I suggest you go home, because that's where you live, and go relive this one. Let me know what you think of this movie down in the comments section below. Thank you again to everybody who requested that I talk about this one. This was a lot of fun to revisit. And it's actually kind of got me pumped to watch the sequel. Hit that subscribe button if you're new, and tap on that thumbs up as well if you're a new viewer. Let me know what your favorite Happy Madison production is. Which one is your most memorable? Which one did you grow up watching? And thank you so much again for tuning into the channel. Y'all are the best. And with all that being said, Back Talk, commence.